Hello my friends, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to my beautiful rideshare revolutionaries. It's me, Gio. Y'all know the fuck it is. Alrighty, today we're gonna take a look at the Uber and Lyft stock, why it's doing so poorly, how that affects drivers, how it affects the company, and what I think needs to get done. So the first portion of this video, I'm gonna film with the AZ screen recorder, and I apologize. I can't really film it in landscape because it looks like crap. So here is the Lyft stock today, the 4th. Today's the 4th, right? Or is today the 5th? Fuck it. Those days. Who cares? Whatever. Anyway. So the Lyft stock opened at $72 on March 20, I think it was the 28th, right? Or is it 29th? Let's just say the 29th. It opened at $72. It went up to 78. It went down. It went back up, and then free fall. And then it had its second lowest point on about the 13th there at $48. Okay. Now it hit its record low today at what, $43 maybe? That was a little confusing. All right, sorry. Hold on one second. Let's just say 45, right? It was down nearly 37% today. Almost half of the value of its stock has gone down in what, 4 months? When was that? March? Okay, this was working a second ago. Okay. Anyway, confidence is low. Investors are worrying. The market is worrying. Lyft is not generating revenue. It's not a good thing. It's not good for shareholders. It's not good for the company. It's definitely not good for drivers. And Uber isn't doing much better because Lyft is down currently 35% since their IPO. Uber is down in the past, go the year, is down nearly 30% since their IPO. I mean, Uber has only been above their initial public offering price for like 4 days or something. Awful. And Uber, I think last quarter they lost $5.2 billion or something in revenue. Not all that was I mean, a lot of it is bad expenditures and stuff like that. I honestly think I know they had to pay out investors and all kinds of stuff that is way above my head. But all I'm saying, when I look at these numbers, like, this is not good news, right? This means there is no public confidence in these companies. There isn't a lot of private confidence in these companies. Drivers aren't confident in these companies. Like, who the hell is? How can you march out on camera if you're Derek Hay or if you're the CEO of Lyft, which I don't even know his name? How do you come on camera saying, "Oh yeah, no, we got some great strides we're gonna make in the next coming months, next coming years. We're seeking a path to profitability." You guys already had the path to profitability, and it was paved really well. And then the big boys, the chairman, you know, they're the ones that fucked it up, right? So now we're gonna skip over to. We're gonna ditch this screen and we're gonna go to more of an upfront view. Okay. All right. And we're back with the second portion of the video where I'm gonna talk about some of the changes I want to see and how these changes could potentially put Uber and Lyft on an actual path to profitability. Because what is happening right now, what Uber and Lyft are doing, is not working. Okay. They are losing billions of dollars, not thousands, not millions, billions of dollars every quarter, every year, and it's not necessary. One of the things I say frequently is some things are completely unnecessary. Losing money when you used to generate lots of money, it's bad business, right? Uber and Lyft, I don't think you guys are gonna be around forever, but you could be if you started making some changes, okay? So the first thing I want to see, which I think can lead back to profitability, bring drivers in as consultants for your company, okay? Now, I'm not talking about the Randy Shears and the Calvin Hills of the world. I'm not talking about guys with 1,000 rides who barely drove and didn't do it that well in the first place. I'm talking about actual drivers, not YouTuber drivers, not even driver YouTubers, drivers, the experts, the people who are out there every single day doing rides, the ones who are out there interacting with the passengers, the ones who are out there using the phones, using the apps. Bring them in when you're trying to try new shit out. I'm not talking about those stupid driver advisory councils either. No. I'm talking about paying drivers handsomely for their input on how to actually improve these apps, how to improve functions, how to make them more easy to understand or easy to use for other drivers around the country, or in Uber's case, around the world. Right? So that's the first change I want to see, is bringing in drivers, actual drivers as consultants on your apps. And that alone, that can correct so many problems. The second thing I want to see is, sorry, I took notes for this one. I'm not usually scripted, but I don't want to be all over the place. The second thing I think can help in coming back to profitability is getting rid of upfront pricing. Because right now, for those of you who don't know, whatever they charge the passenger and whatever they pay the driver are two different things, right? They're usually not really intertwined. Sometimes they are, sometimes not. But some of you say like, oh, Uber and Lyft took 50% of my fare. No, they did not. If a passenger got paid $50 for an airport ride and you got paid $19, Uber and Lyft didn't take half of your fare, because you got your rates independently based, because what you get paid, we get paid our rates, they get charged whatever the app charges them. What we get paid is not determined on what they get charged. It's two different things. But before, on the commission-based pricing model, the passenger was charged 100% of the miles and minutes and the the base fare, and we got to keep 75 or 80% depending on our contract at the time. I personally think the upfront pricing model is not working. Uber and Lyft should go back to the commission-based program. That way, passengers are charged fairly and drivers are compensated fairly. There is no more 50-50 split, 60-40 split. In some cases, I've seen it. I've seen 80-20 splits where a passenger got charged $200 and a driver got paid $40. I've seen it with my own eyes. It sucks. I fucking hate seeing it, but it does happen, and it shouldn't have to. Okay? That would make drivers way happier, and that would be way more transparent. Okay? So that's the other thing I want to see, is going back to the commission, but also in smaller markets where drivers cannot make that much money on fares alone, I do think there should be some types of, like Florida, some of the guys in Florida markets don't make anything driving. There should be some type of subsidy for smaller markets where if you're making less than like $13, $14, $15 an hour, then I'm personally okay if, let's say we go back to commission, and instead of getting 25% fare, instead of getting 75% fare, I got 70% fare, because the other 5% is being spread out to drivers around the country who cannot make money off fares. And those drivers who would be given like a set wage or minimum wage, obviously those drivers would have requirements to get those wages, right? Like, you'd have to keep a certain acceptance rate, you'd have to keep a certain cancellation rate, you'd have to have a certain rating. Obviously, it would come with requirements. And don't jump down my throat. These are just examples, okay? That's what I want to see. Getting rid of the upfront pricing and going back to the commission, and we'd probably have to subsidize the drivers in smaller markets who cannot make as much. Number 3, and I know this, I'm not saying this for every market is different. In certain markets, raise the rates and raise the minimum fares, okay? And this especially goes for if we went back to the commission model. So let's imagine in Chicago, I think right now the minimum fare is $4.50, and you can go like a mile for $4.50. Usually on those kinds of rides, it takes the driver longer to get to the passenger than it does to actually complete the ride. I think if you raise the minimum rate instead of $4.50 to $7, right? If the least a passenger had to pay was $7, that would get rid of all those nonsense 2-block pool rides that we've all had to deal with. That would, because those people go back to taking the bus. That would get rid of a lot of the low class, like, I know some of you call me a racist, but a lot of people who can't really afford taking Ubers and Lyfts would go back to public transportation. We wouldn't have to deal with passengers who would try to just get one over on the apps all the time for a free ride if we raised the minimum rate. Because Uber and Lyft were generating they were generating a lot of revenue when the rates were higher and the minimum fares were higher. When Uber and Lyft were trying to compete with the cab industry, they were generating tons of revenue. Then when they lowered the rates and started trying to compete with public transportation, that's when they started losing money, okay? And if the rates were a little bit higher, I'm not even saying a crazy amount, like right now in Chicago, UberX is 64 cents for me. For guys who signed up after 2015, it's 60 cents per mile. That's on economy. Why not $1 per mile flat? 25 cents per minute in Chicago. That's just an example of Chicago. I don't drive in other markets. I think a healthy rate increase for economy would do a lot of drivers a lot of good. And like I said, it would weed out a lot of the riffraff. There's a lot of people taking these rides who can't afford them and will make false complaints to get free rides all the time. Okay? So that's my third suggestion, to raise the rates and raise the minimum fares. I think that would do a lot of good. And my fourth suggestion, which can put Uber and Lyft back on the path to profitability, is get rid of all promo money. So get rid of Quest bonuses, get rid of CT bonuses. Yeah, get rid of whatever stupid little things they have like that. Just get rid of all of them, and get rid of referral money. I honestly think there's enough drivers out here, guys. There's more than enough. We don't need more drivers. We don't need more drivers being like sharing the road. If they want to, fine, but why incentivize it? There's no point anymore. When Uber and Lyft were trying to grow, they needed a bunch of drivers. Now they don't need as many. All right? So that's why I suggest Uber and Lyft should just get rid of all referral money. And I mean, yeah, that's a pretty large benefit in my opinion. And I think if they got rid of promo money, that means there'd be more surge, more prime time, right? And more surge, more prime time, especially if they go back to the commission model, that's more money Uber and Lyft would keep, right? And they wouldn't be paying it, they wouldn't be subsidizing drivers and paying it back, right? So these are just my 4 suggestions that help Uber and Lyft get back on the path to profitability, maybe get their stock up. I know they're probably not going to watch this video, but if they do, hopefully you guys are taking notes. So obviously, I kept it simple as I could. Bring in drivers as consultants, get rid of upfront pricing, bring back the commission pricing model, raise the rates and minimum fares, and get rid of incentive money and referral money. Honestly, I honestly, in my humble opinion and expert opinion at the same time, I honestly think with those 4 changes, it'd be beneficial for Uber and Lyft corporate and for the drivers. All right? Let me know what you guys think. I try to keep this one as short as I could. So, all right, guys, that's all I got for this one. I want to thank y'all for watching. Everyone, please stay safe, stay driven, stay classy. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.